right, I have a thumbs up, which means we are Facebook Live, which allows us to start our meeting. So this is the recess meeting of Tuesday, October the 21st, 2025, our last meeting in October. So I will call this meeting to order. We'll stand for a pledge of allegiance, followed by an invocation by Alderman Sistrunk, and then a moment of silence. So if you would, stand with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alderman Sistrunk, if you would, please.
Loving God, thank you for this opportunity to be of service to our community. Help us to make decisions that let us live up to our potential, that build on the traditions and work that came before us. May your light guide us as we make decisions. Amen.
All right, again, thank you everyone. We appreciate you being here. It's nice to have a full room. So we will go through first the approval of the official agenda with the consented items. Do I have any changes to the official agenda? Alderman Moore.
No, ma'am.
Alderman Sistrunk?
No, ma'am.
Alderman Skinner?
No, ma'am.
Alderman Brooks, I believe you had one.
Yes, Mayor. Under Mayor's business number B, the consideration for approving the resolution to opt out of the Safe Solicitation Act. I asked if we hold that now on Friday's work session. I've had a chance to look at that. There is something in there that I would like for us to address with our own ordinance. I think we've got a great ordinance and it does everything there, but the solicitation is not something I'd like for us to take a look at. But as far as this goes, if no one has any issues, I'd like to put that on consent.
Okay, any issues with putting that item on consent? Any? Seeing none, we'll put that item on consent. All right, Alderman Poker?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Vice Mayor?
No, ma'am, Mayor, thank you.
Alderman Vaughn?
No, ma'am, Mayor, thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, with that in mind, I need a motion for the official agenda with the consented items as amended.
So moved.
I have a motion from Alderman Brooks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Skinner. No further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. And I will now read the consented items. First is consideration of the minutes of the October 3rd, 2025 work session of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville. Then we have consideration of the minutes of the October 7th, 2025 regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville. Under Mayor's business, we have consideration of the resolution requesting the extension of the 2% food and beverage tax and the 2% hotel motel lodging tax funding for an additional 10 years through June 30th, 2036. Under the Mayor's business, item B, we have consideration of approving the resolution to opt out of the Safe Solicitation Act, HB 1197, as required by the state legislative authorities prior to December 31st, 2025. Under the airport, we have request approval to accept the 2025 MDOT grant agreement regarding FAA AIP 3-28-0068-033-2025 grant in the amount of $69,359 as the MDOT share of the airport development of runway and taxiway extension. Under community development and planning, we have item 2, discussion and consideration of FP 25-08, a request for final plat approval for Gabadon Estates at 318 Dr. Douglas D.L. Connor Drive in a TN-E zoning district. Under engineering, we have consideration of approval of supplemental agreement number 3 with Burns Dirt Construction, Inc. in the amount of $511,374.42, increase for the Mississippi Highway 182 Revitalization Project FBLD 7113-00 sub 004 LPA/108-418-801000 in accordance with the Mississippi Department of Transportation local public agency guidelines and procedures. Number 2, under engineering, is consideration of approving the low quote in the amount of $23,622.52 from Oktibbeha County Co-op for planting materials for Highway 12 median project. 3 is consideration approving the low quote in the amount of $5,834 from the Oktibbeha County Co-op for trees for the Highway 12 median tree replacement project. Item 4 is consideration of approving the change orders to extend the term contracts with Falcon Contracting Company, LLC, T.L. Wallace Construction, Inc., and J.C. Cheek Contractors, Inc. for the annual asphalt overlays, pavement surface treatments, and pavement striping term contracts, respectively, for 1 calendar year. Under Finance Administration, we have approval of the fiscal year 2025 budget adjustments. 3 is acceptance of the September 2025 financial statements. Under the Fire Department, we have request authorization to approve the low quote from Tabor to install a metal building at Fire Station 5 in the amount of $35,274.22. Under Fire Department, number 2 is request authorization to approve the low quote from Groundstone Construction to repair broken concrete in front of the Fire Station number 1 near the bay door in the amount of $6,375. Under Human Resources, number 1, we have request authorization to hire Daniel Hancock and Walter Stewart as non-certified firefighters in the Starkville Fire Department. 2 is request authorization to hire David Kelly as temporary non-certified firefighter in the Starkville Fire Department. 3 is request authorization to hire Theodis Weaver as a temporary water treatment operator in the Starkville Utilities Department. 4 is request authorization to hire Kara Jurancic as an engineering co-op in the Starkville Utilities Department. 5 is request authorization to hire Briley Harper, as a student intern for the Starkville Utilities Department. 6 is request authorization to hire Sean Ramos as an engineering co-op in the engineering department. And 7 is request authorization to hire Shaquille Andrews and Donnie Scales Jr. as sanitation workers in the Sanitation and Environmental Services Department. Under Parks, we have number 1, which is consideration of approving the low quote in the amount of $22,200 from MagCorp for 16 picnic tables for McKee Park Pavilions. 2 is consideration of approving change order number 6 for the McKee Park Improvements Project in the amount of an $8,626.55 increase with Ethos Contracting Group. And 3 is consideration of approving the low quote in the amount of $6,000 from H&H Construction and Excavating for installation of a city-furnished water fountain at the McKee pickleball courts. Under the Police Department, we have request approval to provide a migration path from Genetec Stratacast to Genetec SAAS with Convergent as the seller for the yearly renewal of Genetec Stratacast camera storage and monitoring software for police department cameras at a total cost of $31,447.69. Under Code Enforcement, we have under Mississippi Code annotated 21-1911 sub 2, and as adopted by the City of Starkville Board of Aldermen, the following properties are found in violation of said ordinance and are in such a state of uncleanliness as to be a menace to the public health, safety, and welfare of the community, and are therefore placed on the property mowing list. 209 West Gillespie Street, 506 Spring Street, and 400 Scale Street. Under Utilities, we have request authorization to advertise for source of supply bids for the electric and water divisions of Starkville Utilities with the intent of awarding the source of supply contracts for January 1, 2026 through June 30, 2026. 2 is consideration of accepting the low quote from Control Systems, Inc. for variable frequency drives, material purchase, installation, and programming for Trim Cane Pump Station in the amount of $11,502. 3 is request authorization to declare a Ford New Holland tractor, serial number UP31492, and trailer as surplus and sell on govdeals.com. 4 is request authorization to rescind the contract with the Cassidy Company, Inc. and approve the design agreement with Hazen and Sawyer for the engineering services related to the Josie Creek Lift Station Rehabilitation Project in the amount to be negotiated. 5 is request authorization to advertise for bids for the Headworks Construction and Clarifier Rehab Project at the wastewater treatment plant. And that concludes the consent agenda items.
Thank you, Mayor.
Happy to do that. Okay, so with those, we move now to announcements and comments, and under Mayor's comments, I've got a couple of things, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Kemp. Give me just long enough to say that we've got Pumpkin Palooza this week, which is down on Main Street on the 23rd, Thursday night from 5 to 7. Obviously, it is not in the construction zone. It is further to the east, so it's in front of the hub, but it should still have all the fun activities that people have been enjoying over the years. And we have a groundbreaking on the 23rd for the Hotel Madeline, which is on University Drive. It's a very exciting project, and we look forward to sharing that celebration with the university and the foundation. And now, Mr. Kemp, I will give you the floor for your presentation. Okay? Oh well, you're talking about you want to do the introductions first? Okay, well we'll do the introductions first, and let them go elsewhere. Which do you want to do?
Well, Scott's already up.
All
so
right,
I'll
well
just
then
go
we'll
ahead
let
and introduce
Scott do it.
That's okay. Thank you, Mayor,
Sir.
Vice Mayor, Board. Thank you for having us tonight. I want to introduce to y'all Scott Harrell, who's here from the long way away, but still in our TVA territory. And it's that time of year again when we're doing the energy workshops. So we're really excited about it. You see the flyer. Each of you have a flyer. It's also posted up on the screens and also on our website. We have 16 energy workshops scheduled over the next 2.5 days at various locations around the community, all open to the public, and really excited about that. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of the information that we're going to be providing to anybody who comes, and of course everybody will have one of these takeaways that has anything in there on how to become more energy efficient in your home, how to sign up for Smart Hub, and how to sign up for a
show and tell. So
free
this is what
energy
we're
audit.
giving away.
We'll also be giving away a energy savings starter kit valued at around $50. Any participant who comes, and you'll see in those boxes just an example of the materials they'll get, from energy efficient light bulbs, weather stripping, caulk, that type of thing. So really excited to have Scott here. He's going to help lead our sessions. He has graciously come. He is also a University of Kentucky graduate, so we're not going to hold that against him for being here with us in the SEC, but this is his first time to Starkville, and so really want to welcome him, and I know that our community will be really excited to meet him and him to get to know them as well. So just wanted to let the board know about that, and I'm going to dismiss Scott so he can go down to our first session at Griffin Church here just in a few minutes.
I was going to say, don't you have one this evening?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Certainly. Thanks for being here. Okay, so now we'll do the introductions. And Mr. Kemp, all of these are yours. So first we have John Tavius Rogers. Mr. Rogers, he is a water technician. He's a Starkville native and a graduate of Starkville High School and has joined the Starkville Utilities Department as a water technician. He comes to the team with a strong work ethic, a willingness to learn, and a passion for serving his community. He's eager to grow in his role and contribute to the department's mission for delivering safe and reliable water services. He's responsible for performing a wide range of tasks to support the city's water system, including installing and repairing service lines, valves, meters, and hydrants, among many other assigned tasks. He's currently working toward his commercial driver's license. Outside of work, he enjoys spending time with family and friends and volunteering at his church and playing games, and we're delighted to have you. Welcome aboard. Next, I have Benjamin Davis. All right, well, see, I didn't know how we were lining up here, so. Benjamin is originally from Cedar Bluff, Mississippi, and a graduate of West Point High School. He brings over a decade of experience to Starkville Utilities Department as a lineman. His depth of knowledge and commitment to safety make him a valuable addition to the team. He'll be responsible for the installation, maintenance, and repair of both primary and secondary overhead and underground electric systems. He will also play an important role in mentoring apprentice linemen and supporting safe, efficient operations all across the job sites. Benjamin is married to Lindsay. Outside of work, he enjoys spending time with his family and friends, fishing and playing video games, and we are delighted to have his expertise in the department. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all for having me.
And next we have Waylon Slider. Mr. Slider, okay. He has transitioned from his role as a seasonal student intern to a full-time temporary meter technician with Starkville Utilities. Over the past 6 months, he has demonstrated strong work ethic and eagerness to learn, and we're pleased to see him grow in this new opportunity. In his new full-time role, Waylon will be managing the water and electric meter turn-ons, shut-offs, accuracy testing, and reading verifications. You're originally from Moss Point, Mississippi, is that correct?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
you're currently attending Mississippi State University. In your free time, he enjoys landscaping and spending quality time with family and friends, and we're happy to have you transition to full-time, so congratulations. Next, we have Trenton Evans. Back of the line. Bless your heart, you've been standing in the front and you're going to be the last. I'm sorry. Trenton is a native of Starkville, Mississippi, and a graduate of East Mississippi Community College with an Associate of Arts degree. While he's new to the water division, he brings a diverse background and strong desire to grow in the field. As a water technician, Trenton will support the city's water system by performing installation and maintenance and repair tasks on water mains, meters, hydrants, and related infrastructure. He will also be trained to operate construction equipment such as backhoes and excavators, helping ensure safe and efficient job site operations. His role will be vital to maintaining the quality and reliability of our water service. Outside of work, Trenton enjoys spending time with his friends and family, drawing and playing billiards. Welcome to Starkville. I should say welcome welcome to the city of Starkville because you are from Starkville, so my apologies on that. And last but not least, Ryan Atkinson is a level 6 apprentice lineman. He comes to Starkville Utilities as a new level 6 apprentice lineman with 5 years of hands-on experience in the field. He has a strong background in certifications and licenses that complement his skills. In his position, Ryan will assist the construction and maintenance of overhead and underground electric lines under the supervision foreman. His responsibilities will include installing electrical equipment such as transformers, regulators, and conductors. He will also operate line construction equipment, prepare work sites, ensuring safety protocols are followed. Ryan is originally from Carthage, Mississippi, received a certification in electrical technology from East Central Community College in 2020 and completed the lineman program at Holmes Community College in 2021. He's married to Jana, and they have 2 dogs and a cat. Outside of work, Ryan enjoys spending time with his family and friends, as well as time outdoors fishing, hunting, exercising, and painting. Welcome aboard. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your attending. All right. Next, we have Board of Aldermen comments. So, Alderman Moreland, anything you'd like to share? Okay. Alderman Sistrunk?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Alderman Skinner?
No, ma'am.
Alderman Brooks?
No, Mayor, thank you.
All right. Alderman Pokup?
No, ma'am.
You want to tell us about when you're due?
There will be a baby girl arriving at some point in the next day or 2 or 7 at this point. I have no idea, but I'm glad to be here tonight. I didn't think I would be.
Congratulations on that ahead of time. All right. Vice Mayor?
No, ma'am, thank
Alderman
No,
Vaughn?
ma'am, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And the Jackets did well last Friday, didn't
See
they?
you well.
Okay.
See you in a minute.
All right, next we come to citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for anyone who wishes to comment to the board. Good things, concerns, we'll take compliments, just topics of interest. You have 3 minutes to do so. We do not engage in a back and forth during this timeline, but we offer you the opportunity to let us know your thoughts. And let me say real quick, if you're here for the public hearing associated with the towing ordinance, then this would not be the time to talk about it. I'm certainly not going to stop you, but there is a public appearance opportunity during the towing ordinance that will allow that topic to be the subject. So, Mr. Turner, always lovely to see you.
Hello, London. Good evening to the mayor and board. My name's Alvin Turner, Ward 7, to the mayor, to the police chief, to the fire chief, to sanitation. Some of the citizens, they worry about the light right at Walgreens. They don't know where it's stuck or not, but you coming up 25 to Walgreens, they wanted me to have someone to check that light, traffic light. Next weekend, we'll fall back 1 hour and get dark at 5. Right at Wood Street and the apartment complex across, we need a pedestrian sign or something reflected there because we definitely wouldn't want nobody coming from the apartment or Wood Street and T-Bone, not being able to see each other. Also, we'll be getting dark, and we see a lot of cars with blue lights that not police, and we kind of worry about that as well as people with dark tinted windows. They can see you, but you cannot see them. You know, that just kind of worries us.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. All right, anyone else under citizens' comments?
Good evening.
Yes, ma'am, good evening.
Hi, my name is Deborah Ward, and
I'm sorry, Deborah
Ward,
Ward?
W-R-D.
Yes, ma'am, okay.
And I'm here to represent my brother Dennis Ward. He could not be here this evening, unfortunately, because he has an issue with plumbing. He has a plumber in his house working, so he couldn't leave. But it's pertaining to some property on 256 Sand Road. And as, of course, in Starkville, do you need the parcel number?
No, sir, no, ma'am, we do not. I'm very familiar with it.
Okay, so we've been working on it as a family unit. Last month, we had a death in the family, lost one of my older brothers, so that paused everything for a couple of weeks. Sometimes it's just you know, you're trying to make arrangements to be here and there, but I'm not trying to use that as an excuse. But all the properties have been torn down. And now we're in the process of having someone to remove all the debris. Unfortunately, today it rained, so the person who was going down, he may not have been able to do much, but we know for a certainty we would have this done if we can have at least another 30 days. That's just to be sure, weather permitting. And if we have longer, we would appreciate that, a couple of months. But we know we're going into the rainy season, so we're just trying to get this done. You have requested it, and we're trying to honor that request to the best of our abilities.
Yes, ma'am.
So hopefully you can grant us at least 30 to 60 days. 60 days would be great.
This is under citizens' comments, so this is something the board would have to take up.
Okay. And
Yes,
how soon will we
It
know
will be
something?
at the next board meeting,
Okay. The next board meeting is when?
November the 4th.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Anyone else? Okay, so the entire Mayor's Youth Council. And who's the spokesperson?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Board of Aldermen. We are here and we are the
Need your name
Starkville.
for the record, please.
My name is Mariah Malone, the Mayor of Starkville,
Yes, thank
Mayor
you.
Youth Council.
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
evening. My name is Kaylee Burnett. I serve as Vice Mayor on Mayor's Youth Council.
Hi, I'm Keely's son. I serve as City Clerk.
Good evening. My name is Aubrey Dunning.
Good evening. My name is Kaden Duck.
Good evening. My name is Carrie Anna Robinson.
Good evening. I'm Kaylin Carter.
Good evening. I'm Aubrey Birchfield.
Good evening. I'm Kate Jolly. Good evening. I'm Bree Evans. Good evening. I'm Shane Selman.
Good evening. I'm Soha Mon. Good evening. I'm Cameron Long McMillan.
Good evening. I'm Madison Hicks.
Good evening. I'm Tenria Magoni.
Okay, and thank you all. I should have been clear. Just the person who was going to speak, I was going to get the name, but that's okay. It's good for the board to know everybody because there are a lot of names that they should recognize of parents and that sort of thing. So go right ahead, Mayor.
We thank you all for supporting us, and we have also held an event, and that was our Team Bunny experience, where we had the opportunity to tailgate at a Mississippi State game and also go enjoy the game. Thank you all so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being here. That is a particularly good program, and I'm delighted to have them here tonight, so thank you. All right, anyone else under citizens' comments? Under citizens' comments? All right, seeing none, I will close it for citizens' comments. The next item we have is under public appearances. We have Mr. Ben Sheridan, who has asked for a presentation time. Our public appearance is 10 minutes, which is timed by our city clerk. So, Mr. Sheridan, you have 10 minutes. Or in this case, Mr. Hosford, whoever it is that's going to do the representation of the 10 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
This is also not a back and forth time. This is a presentation time.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that.
Thank you.
Mayor, Board of Aldermen, Vice Mayor, it's a pleasure to be before y'all again. Mr. Sheridan has asked me to come before y'all and try to help in his understanding and perhaps get across some of the points that he feels are very pertinent to this matter. Number one, I think we all agree that we're here as a community to make it a better place for everyone. Obviously, there's two sides to every argument. As the old argument goes, can everybody see my hand? And everybody go, yeah. And the truth is, you can only see one side of it because you have to see the other side too. And that's an old jury trick that we use in the courtroom to get the jury to understand you got to listen to both sides of the argument. So what you're going to hear today is people whose car's been towed, okay? And people whose car's been towed, they're angry. They're upset. They're mad. They had to pay a towing fee, okay? And I get that. I would be mad too if I walked outside in my driveway and my car was towed. But they're all given the rules. And what we have here, if I may approach Mr. Henry Vaughn, we'll pass a letter from the leasing manager, Ms. Keitha Gandy, that outlines some of the issues that we face as a community. One of the main things you hear about every project that we do is where are people going to park? The city can hear about it downtown. We got parking downtown. When everybody complains, oh, well, there's not going to be any parking. City, yes, there's going to be parking. There is parking, but it's limited. And that's what these property owners face, just like the city does. Land here in this county is at an all-time high. Whether you want it to be or you don't want it to be, that's just the facts of life. So you go build an apartment complex with 100 bedrooms in it, and you got 100 parking spots. Well, now you need 125 because the city requires that, whatever the city requires. I'm sure the mayor can remind me of that one. Once you get those numbers in, if you have 125 parking spots and it's game day weekend and 300 people show up, where are the tenants going to park? That's the question. So that's what you're regulating here today. You're not regulating somebody that's been towed. You're regulating for the tenants and the owner of the property. And that's what we need to look at here. Those tenants pay leases. They pay to stay there. They pay to be able to walk to their house within a reasonable distance. And when they pick an apartment complex, that's what they expect. So if today you do away with towing of these owners of these properties, you've effectively cost thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to the property owner. Say the property owner has 125 spaces. Well, if they get a reputation for there never any parking there, guess what they can't do the next year? They can't lease to people because people won't want to stay there. I can't park there. Why would I want to stay there? And that's what you're going to run into if you over-regulate this area. Well, we may not agree that you can regulate this area. We believe you are going to do that at this meeting tonight. And we're asking for you to consider some of the things that we have today. Number one, Mr. Sheridan, he not only operates cameras, video, on person, he stores all this data at a minimum of 45 days. What you'll hear today is that there's data, or there's people that will come up here and they'll testify about what happened to their car and what they say happened. We'd be glad if the aldermen want to get these people to provide them with a VIN and tag number and a date of towing. We believe we can pull that up all the way back to 2020. We can show you pictures, we can show the information, and we can show you why it was towed. That eliminates the questions. Is it predatory or is it responsible parking for the tenants? Picture you go to the grocery store, you got your parking spot in front of your apartment that you're supposed to have. It's game day weekend, Texas comes to town, 100,000 people in town, your property's close to campus, you come home, a Texas fan is parked in your parking spot. Well, now you can't park there. Well, can you even park on the property? You drive around the property, there's no parking spots. So now you got your groceries, you got to find a parking spot, maybe a half mile, quarter mile away, and walk back. That's what we're really talking about. So if these people are complaining, ask them that information. We'll be glad to provide any tow that Mr. Sheridan did, or Apex Towing did. We'll get you the information that we believe we have available. But what we would need is the tag and VIN number. Next, we go down to costs. This is tough, okay? The problem that we have as a community is we want people to be able to come here and visit and not have to pay exorbitant fees for things that they believe they shouldn't have happened to them. Just like a DUI, just like a parking ticket, just like anything else the city does, there's a price that's associated with those numbers that has come to this community, okay? Today, you're being asked to assess a price on what a private citizen and a private company can charge to remove a car that is illegally parked on their property at that cost. Well, the things the city has to understand is there's cost. I know Mr. Sheridan has provided you with the cost of the tow truck. There's insurance. The insurance runs, I believe, $90,000?
$93,000 annually.
$93,000 a year he has to pay in insurance. Okay? The cost of each tow truck is anywhere from $120,000 to $170,000 right now. Then you have to pay your employees. He currently employs 7 people in this business, in this community, that all pay taxes here or are working here. Every one of those have to get a paycheck. He then has to go through and he provides striping for the parking lots, which helps the city look more presentable. He also presents signs in these parking lots. Now, the city has signs in their ordinance, and they have fortunately, we believe, lowered the sign size, but there's another issue we want to think about here. Do you really need a parking sign every 20 parking spots? Do you want to walk out to a parking lot and see a forest of signs? The city has made a point to not allow business owners to put up post signs on Highway 12. But now they're asking property owners to put up post signs in a parking lot. How does that make sense? You're warned on the way in, you're warned on the way out. If you want to put one by the home office, that's great. But do we really need 75 signs in a parking lot that say you can't park here without an authorization? Mississippi State doesn't do that. I'm not sure what the city does. I know they have signs, but I don't know how far apart they are. Again, the city can look at their own ordinance on that. But let's look reasonable. Do you really want 75 signs in a parking lot? I don't think that's functional. We also talk about liability insurance. One of the things that you have in this policy or this proposed statute is a $750,000 limit. Well, we think $1 million would be more appropriate. The next question, that's a liability limit. The next question is, you have on-a-hook coverage per vehicle of $25,000. I think everybody here has probably bought a vehicle in the last 10 to 15 years. I don't know of any vehicle you can buy for $25,000. So if you're asking the people to provide coverage for the citizens that are being towed, then we would think a minimum of $100,000 would be sufficient there in both that and gatekeeper's liability insurance. Now the problem with that is it increased the cost of the person towing. All of that goes back to this. If you're truly trying to protect the person that is being labeled themselves as the victim, then you need to protect their vehicle. The insurance is what protects the vehicle. And that makes sense. We then go down the list and we look at what it costs to do on the hook, okay? I agree that if you're on the hook, there should be a different fee. You haven't hauled it to the shop, the person doesn't have to go do that, they didn't have to take it away, but what they're not looking at here is the cost of moving that vehicle out of a parking spot. When you arrive on a site, there's vehicles on each side. Your vehicle's in the middle that you got to get out because they're there illegally. Well, you got to go in there, you got to jack up the vehicle, you got to put dollies of some kind underneath it, you got to move the vehicle out manually and ensure that vehicle doesn't roll into other vehicles. That's where the liability comes into play. Once you get it out, then you got to position the vehicle to be able to hook onto the truck and tow it away. All of those things are what the majority of the time of a tow takes. We think 50% is extremely low. We would argue that 80% of the labor in towing a vehicle is done the minute you have to remove it from the property. I understand the city's goal here is not to over-penalize the people that weren't thinking about this, didn't know this, all of that. Every tenant, when they have these places and sign a lease, is given the rules that they have to follow. The tenants know. The tenants are given warnings. The tenants are given stickers. The tenants are given information. You then come back and you say that people...
Mr. Hosford, that's 10 minutes.
I apologize.
No, nothing to apologize for. I thought I was gonna get a minute warning, and she gave it to me, and I didn't look, so my
Oh, well, I
apologies.
wish I would have known that.
That's your 10 minutes. But we will have the public hearing, and if you have some more to say, that may be giving you an opportunity to,
I would love to. We did not address the cost issue, Your Honor.
okay? Okay. All right, so that is under public appearance. Next, under the agenda, we do have the public hearing. So this is the second public hearing in consideration of the adoption of a non-consensual predatory towing ordinance. We have previously, today, made some changes to it based on feedback that we have gotten. And so some of that feedback creates a change, a substantive change of sorts. So we will probably be having, if it's the board's pleasure, we'll be having a third public hearing in order to allow those changes to be notified to everyone who has an interest. But we have tried to be responsive because that's what public hearings are for. Learn about what's being talked about and what is of significance that might make a difference in your ordinance, which is what we have done. We've been tried to be responsive to the things that were highlighted to us as being an issue. So that being the case, we have a new ordinance that we will, I guess I can highlight. You got it? All right, so there were some changes, and I'm gonna go real quick, I promise, real quick. So they were in the e-packet, so, yes, we've added, the photos of the vehicle will be taken, and I added this morning that video and photos will be taken, because that's very simple to do. Under the trespass towing, we've got, the sign size was 18 by 24, and we've lowered the sign to 12 by 18, which seems to be a reasonable thing to do. The business owner or lessee, under the authorization for removal of the vehicle, would include an authorized representative. Under the elements of who is exempted from sign requirements, it is residential structures that are fourplex or less, for fairly obvious reasons. Under the rates, we've got an addendum that allows it to be changed by the Board of Aldermen without going through an ordinance process, which is a public hearing, 2 public hearings, and then consideration of the adoption, as well as publication in the paper, or yes, publication paper. Then we've got the change of the fee not to exceed 50%, and that's the towing if you arrive and it has not been towed away. So that would be 50% of the actual towing rate. Then earlier today, we've got a request for prior to inspection and turning the vehicle over to someone who has the ignition key and a valid driver's license, that those things must be identified, and that if there's a claiming party that is a maintenance company or an insurance agent, then they've got to present proper ID as well, because apparently that is some folks who occasionally come forward to get the vehicle. Then we have a charge for after-hours release. It's not unreasonable to have, if you want your car and it's midnight and they're closed, but you're willing to pay a fee, then your after-hours storage fee will not exceed the daily storage fee. That was another item. And so, let's see, and then we required a report to the police department by either text or email of the towing activity. And then we get to an addendum, which talks about the incremental costs associated with that, and if it's a minimum of an hour with incremental costs added at quarter-hour intervals for unexpected delays that are not attributable to the towing company, then each quarter hour will be calculated on a $200 an hour basis. And then we've got time spent releasing the vehicle is included in the established towing charge, which will not exceed, for any light duty vehicle, $250. And then the charge for after-hours fee to release the vehicle will not exceed the amount of the daily storage fee. And then we've added the opportunity to use cash apps such as Venmo and PayPal, and then credit cards, and the processing fees are not to exceed the actual processing fees that are applied. And no additional fees for weekends and holidays other than those associated with an after-hours request, which is outside their normal operating hours. So those are roughly the changes that were made, and I think those were unreasonable as a part of the effort. Now, having said that, we have 15 minutes for the pros, 15 minutes for the cons. So I'm going to start. Mr. Hosford, you were on a roll. I'm going to start with those opposed. So I'm going to let you come back if you will. How many do we have in here who wish to talk in opposition to the adoption of this ordinance? Okay, so I have 3. All right, so Mr. Hosford, I will give you a few more minutes, but I need to save time for the 2 folks in the back whose hands I see.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Ms. McLaurin is going to be doing the timing again, so how much time do you think you need left?
Your Honor, if you can give me 2 minutes, I think that'd be great. If she can,
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
if she'll kick me about a minute and a half in, I think I'd be grateful.
Okay, all right, if you would. Go ahead.
Your Honor, very simply, the one other issue there are 2 other issues really that concern us are, we're asking people to be open or available between 11 and 4. We would say that 12 to 5 would be more functional, especially considering you're asking people to be open on Sundays. This would allow the employees to be at church, which I think this community is very proud that most people here attend church. So we would ask to change that to 12 to 5. I think that's something that could be done. Now, the last one is perhaps the most important to my client due to the cost, Your Honor, and simply $250 is lower than the going rate around here. I know Mississippi State, the Highway Patrol, and the county all allow up to $300 for tows. I think that is more in line with the going market rate, and we would ask y'all to consider that. Obviously, the storage fees vary from $45 to $60, we would say somewhere in that range. We would say somewhere around $50 to $60 would be more appropriate for storage fees. Again, what you're talking about is a service to the community that benefits the owners of property. And that's the way we present this. It's not something that's predatory. It's a trespass. And these property owners are asking Mr. Sheridan to perform this service, and that's what he does. He does it at their request. And that's all we're asking.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you for your
All
time.
right, that allows for the two hands that I saw in the back. Would you like, one or both of you, whichever wants to come first?
Hello,
Hi.
my name is Destiny Woodworth. I've been a resident here at Starkville for a while, and I've lived in multiple of the complexes here. I'm also a manager at one of the local restaurants. I want to speak against the proposed towing ordinance because it's going to interfere with private contracts between towing companies and the apartment complexes here. Even when both parties are in agreement, the responsible towing companies follow the rules and document everything. They protect both property and residents, limiting their operating hours or rates could push these companies out, leaving room for lower quality towing companies who may damage property or create unnecessary problems that would actually potentially practice predatory towing. I've personally been towed by Apex Towing before, and I wasn't happy in the moment, but I definitely can say I was in the wrong. I was not supposed to be parked there, and there was a sign, multiple signs nearby. They did take pictures, showed me proof. I mean, every person has body camera footage, and they have cameras on their trucks. So it seems like they do everything by the book. On the other hand, I have seen them make a mistake. They once towed my friend, even though she was parked in the right spot. And even though that was, they immediately released her car and gave her a gas gift card as an inconvenience. And that even though that was a worker's mistake, a driver, not the company's, mistakes happen in every business. What matters is how responsible is handled. From what I've seen, nothing about their practices is unethical or predatory, so I don't understand why those terms are being used to justify the city's interference. This directly affects the community, residents, and workers who rely on safe, orderly parking, including my restaurant staff who live in these complexes and come home late after long shifts or working events late at night for weddings and such. Punishing responsible companies for unproven problems doesn't protect the community, it undermines it. I urge the council to consider the impact on both residents and responsible businesses before enacting this ordinance. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. And the next person, okay.
Good evening, Mayor Spruill, members of the council, and fellow citizens. My name is Nikki Leonard. I've been a property manager in Starkville for many years, and I'm here today to speak in strong support of Apex Towing, a long-standing and respected business in our community. For many years, Apex Towing has served the city with professionalism.
Hang on, so you're speaking in favor,
I'm
you're against the ordinance, right?
Correct.
Okay, so this is not an ordinance that's directed at Apex. This is an ordinance that's directed at towing.
Yes.
So I just wanted to make sure
Yes.
you understood that.
I do,
Okay,
yes.
all right, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. For many years, Apex Towing in particular has served the city with professionalism, reliability, and integrity. They've responded in all kinds of weather and all hours. When someone's car breaks down in the middle of the night, when an accident blocks traffic, or when a business or property owner needs help keeping their premises safe and clear. They're not just a towing company, they're a part of the essential services that keep our city running smoothly. That's why I'm deeply concerned about this proposal before us, a measure that would allow vehicles to be released free of charge to be picked up within 24 hours, and that would impose new caps on towing fees. On the surface, this might sound beneficial to citizens, but in reality, this kind of regulation undermines the very foundation of how private business operates and puts an unfair burden on local service providers who already follow strict rules and contracts. Our towing companies operate under contracts with private property owners and businesses, not under city subsidy or public funding. Those contracts outline the terms, rates, and responsibilities agreed upon with both parties. The city stepping in to dictate pricing or require free releases is a serious overreach of government authority to private enterprise. If we start allowing city officials to dictate what private businesses can charge, Where does it stop? No other industry is being told to provide its services for free for the first 24 hours. No restaurant is told to give away free meals if you come back the same day. No mechanic is forced to cap what they charge for parts or labor. And yet, somehow, these towing companies, ones that invest in trucks, insurance, fuel, equipment, and staff, are being singled out for such special restrictions. This kind of policy sends a dangerous message to every small business in our city that years of hard work, investment, and fair contracting can be overridden by a single ordinance. It discourages entrepreneurship, it punishes reliability, and it creates a precedent that City Hall can rewrite the rules of private business at any time it wants to make a political point. In conclusion, I ask this council to think carefully about the precedent you are setting. We can protect consumers without punishing legitimate local businesses. We can support fairness without dismantling private contracts. Apex Towing has proven their commitment to this community for years, always showing up when people need them most. They deserve our respect and our trust, not regulations such as these that threaten their livelihood. I urge you to reject or reconsider this proposal and work instead on solutions that support both our citizens and our small businesses that keep this city running. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Yes, sir. Come, you want to speak against the ordinance? Against the ordinance. How many minutes are left, Ms. McLaurin? 7 minutes. 7? Okay. Yes, sir.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, everybody, member of the board. My name is Erwin Peoples. I also had the experience. I'm not here. I don't have a lot of facts. I'm not an eloquent person. I'm here because I got to know the man personally. I personally know that the variables that I heard the word predatory, and it struck me in a different way because I can't see this individual personally doing things to harm the people that reside in these places. It's more protective than anything, preventative than anything. I don't have a lot of facts to bring before you. I've heard plenty. I've heard numbers. I've heard costs and insurance and things of that nature. I just personally know that this particular business is not here preying on individuals. They're here because they're providing a service that the residences have asked for. So forgive me. I am personally here just to speak for the integrity of the person that's keeping with the boundaries as best they know how, as provided by you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition to the ordinance? Keep me safe here. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board of Aldermen. Firstly, I want to start by saying I didn't expect to come up here and speak
I
of
need
much.
your name, please.
My name is Sean Bird.
Okay, Mr. Bird.
I am a senior now at Mississippi State University, and I just came to speak on the necessity of towing. I do not work. I am very fortunate to have parents who do their best to take care of me, and so I just think that it is a little bit more considerate, considering that I've lived in numerous properties here throughout Starkville. My rent has never been less than $1,200. I think it is very far-fetched for me to have my parents pay a $1,200 rent a month for just little old me, and me come home, like she said, from late nights with friends, games, and not have parking. I currently reside in the Cotton District on University Drive. If anyone knows anything about the area, it's the closest walking distance to the football stadium. Before that, I stayed at Hugo, which is also very close in walking distance. It's very, it's a little discouraging, and by all means, I feel that there are some regulations that could happen. I feel like there is some reform, but over-policing in any instances leads way to authoritarianism. I think that there are times where, towing companies across the board are in the wrong, and I also believe that there are also times where us as constituents and us as citizens, we're also in the wrong as well. I have a parking sign right in front of my designated parking space in my current apartment. There have been numerous times I've come home and there's someone parked there, and it's like, okay, well, what do? I park in the handicap because, I don't want to make anyone else's life harder than what it has to be. I come out of my residence in my own car, so because I do not possess a handicap sticker, and I parked in the handicap spot, when in actuality, the car that's in my parking spot should have never been there in the first place. So, again, as he said, I don't have all the facts. I don't know the entirety of the story, but what I do know is that there are some things that are necessary, there are some things that are needed. Regulated, but needed nonetheless.
All right, thank you, Mr. Byrd. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am, one more. And we have how long?
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Olivia Thompson, and I've been a resident here in Starkville for 3 years now. My apartment complex works with Apex Towing to ensure that those who aren't paying for our parking decal or paying rent won't be able to take spots of actual residents like myself. A few times I've had to park on the opposite side of my complex in the middle of the night because I get home from work late and there are no spots due to non-residents taking up those spaces. I understand that towing can cause a lot of frustration when you do get towed, but why are we trying to change the agreements already in motion by the complexes and towing companies, especially when I'm required to pay for a parking spot in my contract? Would you want to pay rent and pay for a parking decal when it doesn't even matter, since anyone and everyone can park wherever they want? I wouldn't think so. It's not predatory towing if you don't live in the residence and aren't paying for a $50 parking decal. If you get towed, that's your fault for not reading the signs or respecting the rules of most apartment complexes. Imagine everyone trying to park in your yard or in your driveway. Wouldn't that be annoying to deal with? Wouldn't you want something done about it? Because I would. I hope what I've said tonight will shed some light on how important Apex Towing is in this community and for many apartment complexes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else? All right, we will now move to those who are in favor of the ordinance, and you too have 15 minutes, so if there is a spokesperson, how many, hands up for those who wish to speak in favor of it? Okay, all right, so, Ms. Williams, you've already had much of a chance, so let's see if there's someone else who would like to come forward and speak. Come on, sure. And we will reset the timer and start again.
Hello, my name is Alexandra Williams. I'm a senior at MSU and a Starkville native. I want to thank the board for being open to citizen comment on this. On the night of August 29th, my car was towed from the very back lot of College View's parking lot. I'm not here to contest the validity of my towing because I was not parked in a guest parking spot. I would, however, like to note that College View has space for at least 656 residents and less than 25 guest parking spots. In the photos taken of my car by the towing company, there's not a single car in the surrounding parking spaces. I was not inconveniencing anyone by parking my car where I was parked. When I discovered my car had been towed, I called Apex Towing and was told that if I wanted to retrieve my car that night, it would be an extra $100, totaling the cost of retrieval to $400. The extra fee was to cover the fact that someone had to come and open the shop at night, despite the fact that my car itself was towed at 11:25 p.m. I opted to wait until the morning, depending on the generosity of a friend, to drop me off at home, as it was now closer to 2 a.m. and I did not feel comfortable walking 2 miles home in the dark. The next day, I paid $300 to retrieve my car, a price that I was told when I paid was agreed upon between Apex and the city. I was asked to pay and sign before I was shown my car, and I'm glad that I read the terms and conditions, as the receipt page I was asked to digitally sign also conveniently provided a clause that I agreed not to take any further action or request a payment for damages made to my car while it was towed. When I handed my ID over to the girl working at the register, another woman took it under the counter and took a photo of it. I was told that the employees could not provide me with the information of who owned the business. Notably, I have had many friends who've had their cars towed by Apex, some as residents of College View or other apartment complexes, and the 6 of us together have all paid anywhere from $250 to $280 to $300 to $310. There's a serious lack of inconsistency here. More than anything, however, I would like to discuss that at no point during the action of retrieving my car did I sign anything saying that photos of my vehicle or my ID could be shared with the public or anyone other than myself. Despite this fact, after my mother spoke at the last town hall meeting, Mr. Sheridan, the owner of Apex Towing, took to Facebook Messenger to send my mother a message asking for my VIN number to find out how she had been, quote unquote, in his words, victimized. When she did not respond, he sent her photos of my car and my ID. He sent her a screenshot of the dispatch article in the town forum, and when she told him to stop messaging her, he continued to accuse her of lying and slandering him. He wrote that customers could be vile and vengeful at times, and that my family could expect to hear from his lawyer, as we all have tonight. When she blocked him, he took to his own Facebook page to make a long post about how 90% of what she had said are lies, and how people needed to leave their feelings at home and teach their children to follow public and private rules. In the comments of this post, he posted a number of photos of my car, and while he blanked out my plate, the parking sticker for my former apartment building is still very much clear, as are a number of other identifying stickers. I'd like to clarify that my mother told nothing but the truth at the last public comment section. I'd like to clarify that at no point did I request that Mr. Sheridan share photos of my car with his followers or share a photo of my ID, which was clearly taken for personal reasons, with anyone other than myself. I want to clarify that I view Mr. Sheridan's behavior as unprofessional and childish in that moment. Finally, I want to acknowledge that my mother is not the first to have complained about Apex's towing practices. When you Google Apex Towing, or its former name, Parish Towing, you're met with a number of complaints already, both online and with the Better Business Bureau. Despite Mr. Sheridan's Facebook portrayal of me, I'm not stupid, I'm not naive, and I'm most definitely not a liar. I'm someone who parked their car parallel to visitor parking because I knew I was not in anyone's way by doing so. The fact of the matter is, regardless to whatever permission Apex may have to do so, the company trolls lots in hopes that it may stumble onto a college student with nowhere else to park and $300 in their account. I think they specifically choose to work with college apartments because they don't think that students will stand their ground. I think Apex knows what they're doing, though it may be just this side of legal, is predatory and unnecessarily shady. I would ask why the employees of Apex are told not to share their owner's name with their customers. I'm a college student. I get paid $10 an hour as an undergraduate research assistant. It costs me 30 hours of work to retrieve my car for this company. Please consider that when you think about that. Please consider that when you think about how many students are, in Mr. Sheridan's own words, victimized by predatory towing in Starkville. Mr. Sheridan seems to think that my mother has failed to teach me certain lessons. Let me state that, fortunate for him, she did teach me how to stand up to people who feel big when they make other people feel small. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. All right, someone else who wishes to speak in favor of the ordinance?
Good evening to everyone.
Mr. Turner.
My name's Alvin. We don't want to get a bad reputation. We doing good, but some things are people will think that no, not the city, would cause so much pain and uproar. We don't need for the police department, citizens, they get into it and be exchanging gunfire because we got an open weapon, open carry. Let us be careful because as the old people said, don't start and then that you can't finish. But let's being safe, that we doing good, but we don't want to get a bad reputation.
Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Good evening. My name is Ben Barrett, and I'm a senior electrical engineering student over at the university. And I'm really thankful for the opportunity to come here and speak tonight.
All right, Mr. Barrett, how much time do we have left?
8.5 minutes.
8.5 minutes. So I think we have a couple more, so just bear that in mind if you don't mind. Thank you, sir.
I'll
Go
try to be
ahead.
quick. So, towing and parking comes up a lot in conversations. When I was mentioned I was going to transfer a couple years ago, one of the first things I was told was tow trucks are bad down in Starkville. Now, fast forward just a little while, moving into College View, we get this paper that's delivered to us, which I guess something worth mentioning before I read into this was that in New York City, the maximum fee for getting towed for trespass tow from a private lot is $125, and over in Miami, Florida, it's $145. Now, when my mama comes and visits and gets towed from the parking lot, she's charged $300. And hypothetically, if it were a weekend and it's outside of the hours given to be open on weekends and holidays from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m., you got to tack on an extra $100 to that, which, regardless of those, if you walk out and you see your car getting towed in the parking lot and hadn't even left the lot yet, it's still $200 as a drop fee. Now, I understand there needs to be a rule of the law in the parking lots. You can't just have everybody coming and parking on game days, but it's kind of strange that the tow trucks usually come and troll the lots around 2 in the morning, when usually folks aren't going to try and find parking spots 2 in the morning. It's usually more of a problem in the afternoons. And then you end up with folks getting a nasty surprise going to class in the mornings. Now, after reading over the ordinance, there are several points that stood out to me that I think are really important that I especially agree with, like the requirement for the authorization per vehicle, the maximum rates being set, making sure the office is actually open for folks to get their vehicles, and the provisions against accepting payment for the privilege of towing a vehicle. Now, there's a similar ordinance in the city of Oxford, a little bit farther north, which I'm a state fan through and through, but I've visited there a few times. It's written similar to this one that's being proposed here, which whenever I go and visit, even on game days, I would go up to the apartment, and there's a fellow sitting at the front. He asked me who I'm there for, seeing it, everything, and he's like, go on and park. I was still nervous going and parking just because I'm what I'm used to, and they don't seem to have any problems with people running out of parking spots or anything. But all in all, I think this new ordinance is a really good thing, and I've loved living here, and I think this is going to be a big bonus to that. I really appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the ordinance? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Julie Gibbons, and my daughter is a sophomore, and she lives at the Walk apartment. And she was towed the end of September, and we called to find out just all the information. And she was given an email at the beginning of August to tell that where they could park. It was put in their move-in packet. I don't think it's reasonable for any 19-year-old to read that move-in packet or read every email that they get from Walk Apartment. I certainly don't read all of my emails when I get them. There is a sign in the very back of the parking lot. It says tow-away zone, unauthorized or abandoned vehicles will be towed at vehicle's owner expense. She had not even gotten to that sign. That sign is not properly put in that parking lot. She couldn't go, it was the guest parking lot, and she shouldn't have been parked there, but you couldn't see that sign. If they're gonna tow it, the sign needs to be visible to everybody. She didn't go where she was supposed to park because her phone had died and she couldn't get the arm to go up. But I don't think it's reasonable for somebody to have to read an email to know that sign, that they can't park there. If they're gonna get towed, it needs to be a reasonable sign. It needs to be in the front of the parking lot, not in the back wall, which is where this sign was placed. And again, I think it's unreasonable for the price. And we called the towing company. Normally it would be $100. We were charged $300. When asked why, they said that, I'm sure they have many costs, but one was pictures. They had to take pictures. I don't know what kind of photography equipment that they have to take with them, but I don't think $200 for pictures is reasonable. But anyway, I think the signage needs to be appropriate and for students to see these signs, and especially when the parking lot is not full. I get that we have a parking problem, but not in these situations. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Anyone else speaking in favor of the ordinance? Anyone else? All right, seeing none, okay, how many minutes do we have left?
3 minutes.
I'm
3
sorry?
minutes and 40 seconds.
3 minutes and 40 seconds. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board. My name is Christine Williams. I spoke at the last forum, and I just want to take a minute or two to kind of wrap up something from that last time. I just want to make 2 points. One, I continue to get messages on the parent forum, where there's a parent group page that is specific only to parents of Mississippi State University students. I tell them to reach out to you all. I give email. I don't have yours. I give yours now. Sorry about that. And I think you'll continue to get more of that. But the one thing that I wanted to point out today is that when I think about towing, I agree. If you're in a jam and you need a tow truck, you call them. If somebody's violating something egregiously and you need to move it, you call them. But the concept of predatory towing, to me, is more in line with companies seeking something to tow, like it's a sport or a game. And I just want to point out that Mr. Sheridan, in one of his direct messages to me to call into question my comments at the last public forum and also let me know I would hear from his attorney, which I didn't, by the way. He sent me a screenshot of the towing report or whatever it is that they call it. And what struck me as odd about this one is that it lists the tow truck driver, the dispatcher, statuses. So it starts with the tow truck waiting, then being dispatched, en route, on scene, towing is completed, and the car's impounded. So this one starts with waiting at 11:22 p.m. It skips dispatched, it skips en route, and it skips on scene, and it goes straight to 3 minutes later at 11:25 p.m. towing, which to me indicates that that tow truck was already in the parking lot because apparently the driver, if they do their reports properly, did not receive a call. He merely found a car. So I just wanted to point that out because to me, that is more in line with somebody preying on someone else. You sit and wait and you take advantage if you can. And I just think that that's the egregious part, and that's what the parents that I'm hearing from, and I would assume the parents that you all are hearing from, are most upset about. The fact that it continues and it's a blatant misuse of power on the part of the individual with a truck that can tow another car. And that's any company that does this. My only connection was with Apex Towing, which is why I mentioned them in my last set of comments. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so that will close the public hearing as it regards this particular ordinance, and we will move into any discussion that the board wants to have at this time. As I mentioned, with these changes, I think probably we'll have a third public hearing and a consideration actually next time around, but we can have discussion as it stands right now, unless Alderman Sistrunk, I see your hand.
I just want to be very, very clear that this does not prohibit the towing of vehicles that are improperly parked. It sets out a process that has to be followed. It allows the property owner to initiate the process of the towing and the removal of a car that's improperly parked. I don't think any of us disagree with the idea that that's an appropriate way to go about these things. Ms. Williams was correct that the term predatory is that idea that the control has moved from the property owner to a towing company to determine when and if a car will be towed. So just wanted to be sure that we're not eliminating towing, and cars can be towed that are improperly parked, but with a process and with a clear procedure for how you go about doing those sorts of things.
All right, Alderman Brooks?
Yeah, Mayor, if we're gonna have a third hearing, I've got a number of comments and stuff and to address some of these issues, and I'll just kind of say that for the next hearing. But I will say that, you know, with my ward being the Cotton District and having complexes like the Vista and then the social block units, you know, I've got an inordinate amount of student housing apartments in my ward, and I'll say that on my first term, I hadn't been on the board a week when I received my first call regarding towing practices, and I've just had a steady diet of them since then, with everything from the sheer number to, you know, things such as, you know, people were towed for touching the white lines, and excessive fees, you know, and difficulty in retrieving automobiles, you know, and the attorney that spoke earlier was talking about two sides. You know, it's kind of like I told my kids, there's always two sides to every story, and the truth's probably somewhere generally in the middle. But when there's this much smoke, you know, there's some fire out there somewhere, and I believe that this ordinance is a positive step, and I'll just reserve the rest of my comments for the next hearing. But I would like to address several of those. I think we've made a good positive step on addressing this, and as Alderman Sistrunk said, you know, just being able to tow without the property owner being involved is a
My head hasn't turned down this way. Anyone down on this end wanna speak to this at all?
Next week.
Okay.
I'll say mine to the next board meeting, but it's something that's on my mind. When a vehicle is still on the parking lot and the wrecker charging a different price because he won't release the vehicle, especially when it's still in the parking lot, and pulled off with it, I guess I'm concerned about that. But I have my comments next week.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, Alderman Moore?
I just want to reiterate on what you mentioned earlier. This is not a towing ordinance against Apex Towing. This is a towing ordinance against the city, for everybody that has a towing company in the city of Starkville. And off the top of my head, I think there's 11. And if it's only affecting one, I don't know. I know that your attorney mentioned that y'all do the line striping for the parking lots. I don't know if that's why the cost is being passed on, but as a property owner, I would never expect that from you for my property. I just want to reiterate that it is not specifically for one company. This is across the board. We're not singling anybody out with this. That is all.
Anyone else? Also, it's not free. You don't get to get towed and then have a freebie out here. So this is not, there is a cap on it, but the tow element of it is, there is nothing free about any of it. So, all right, if there's nothing else, then we will close this item and we'll be taking it up again. It'll be a third public hearing, and at that point in time, there'll be consideration of adoption. Our next item for the public hearings is a public hearing consideration of a rezoning of 25-01. Mr. Haviland?
RZ 25-01. This is a request by Westside Fund 4 and Westside Fund 5 to rezone a portion of property located at 808.
Yeah, you mind? That'd be great, thank you. Yeah, play with one of them. We'll get one. Other one. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
So property located at 808 and 812 University Drive. This property is located directly west of Highway 12, south of University Drive, and north of Russell Street. It's the first property you get to when you come off of campus along University Drive. From this image, you can see the red lines. That is the new property lines, and that's based on the approved final plat that was approved by this board on October 7th. For a rezoning to take place, one of the following conditions must be established. Either error, and there is a error in the code with the need to correct the error, or change a condition, which is a change in neighborhood has occurred to such an extent to justify the proposed rezoning. There's a public need for the proposed rezoning. This request for rezoning is based off change in condition and also the public need to correct it. The property is no longer owned by Mississippi State University for educational use. It is now part of a bit larger development that's not going to be educationally based. The proposed rezoning would align the subject property with the adjacent zoning districts, which ensures future uses are compatible and in context with the surrounding development. And there is a public need for the rezoning to prevent the property from remaining underutilized and to support orderly and compatible urban development, encourage redevelopment that will expand the tax base, promote economic vitality, consistent with the comprehensive plan and the Unified Development Code. The proposed rezoning is consistent with the city's adopted plans, the guiding principles in the UDC, and ensures compatible surrounding uses and promotes public health, safety, and welfare. The October 14th, 2025, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of this request. This request was noticed in accordance with the UDC. Property owners of record were notified directly by mail. A legal ad was published in the Starkville Daily News on September 27th, 2025, and a sign was posted on the property. As of this date, we have received no response to the notifications.
Okay.
So,
Any questions of Mr. Haviland while we? Okay, seeing none, the applicant is here, I believe. The applicant have anything that you'd like to add to the presentation? No? Okay. All right, well, if there's nothing further from the board, then I will open it as a public hearing. Now is an opportunity to discuss or to give input on this rezoning, either for or against. This is a rezoning along University Drive from a special education area to T5, T5C, T5U. Anyone wishing to speak to this matter, now would be the time, either for or against. Seeing none, I'll close it as a public hearing. Discussion from the board? Do I have a motion? I have a motion from Alderman Brooks. Do I have a second?
Second.
I heard Alderman Skinner. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. And last but not least, in the public hearing realm. Go ahead. I'm just saying, have at it.
I've had a little issue with this. Okay, the next one is SE 2508. This is same request or different request by the same group, West Side Fund 4 and West Side Fund 5. This is for a special exception to exceed the maximum building width, the minimum transparency requirement, and allowing for a 5th floor at the property. This is kind of the site plan of what they're currently developing. The orange area is the hotel. There is a parking garage directly to the south, bottom of the page, and then a surface lot that's further down. So the property, the hotel, will be accessed from University Drive and then also from Russell to access to the parking area. All of these requests are related to the building, the base dimensional standards, and some of the design standards. The first is to exceed the maximum width of a building in a T5C zoning district. The maximum building width is limited to 90 maximum feet. The proposed building is 273 feet. The second request is from building transparency. That requires that the first floor transparency be a minimum of 55%. This first floor is 40%. Transparency is basically the amount of doors and windows versus the percentage or the square footage of the wall. It's whatever that percentage works out to. The third request is to allow for a 5th floor onto the hotel. And as part of that 5th floor, there's actually, I believe, a rooftop area, like restaurant. Section 5.2 of the UDC allows for this 5th floor with a special exception. Section 3.41 has the 8 criteria for all special exception review and approval. And since this is in a form-based district, we also have section 5.11, which is the intent of the form-based districts. This request was noticed in accordance with UDC. 8 property owners of record within 160 feet were notified directly by mail. The legal ad was published in the Starkville Daily News on September 27th and a sign posted on the property of this location. As of this date, we have received no response to the notifications, and on October 14th, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval.
Okay. All right, any questions of Mr. Howland? All right, seeing none, the applicant, anything you wish to add to this presentation? All right, thank you. All right, if there are no, Alderman Vaughn.
How many rooms is that gonna be?
122?
Say it again, how many rooms?
122.
122 rooms?
And it is adequately parked.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes, and now that you've opened that particular door, I'm gonna go ahead and say that we are 300 rooms shy of the needed hotel rooms in town, and so this is very exciting. Of course, there is an offsetting part, because when they get done with this hotel, they're going to remove, I believe, the, whatever it's being called right now that's in existence, Russell Suites, I believe, something like that. So we'll have a little bit of a net going on there, but nonetheless, a new hotel is very exciting, so. Alderman Brooks, yeah.
So it's really not out of character with what's across the street as far as the width of the building, correct?
No, the width of the building, that provision was added based on a lot of the properties in a form-based district. They kind of dropped, like from the road perspective, like they go downhill. And so that was meant to kind of break the floor plan up so that the finished floor can be staggered down the hill. That's not really the case here. It's a pretty flat section of road right there. So the length of the building, it doesn't affect. It's not going to be coming out of the ground 30 feet like it does in some of the other areas.
Okay. And we had 5th floor stuff in the T6 before we did away with T6, correct?
Yes, yes.
Fenestration was the word we used to use, am I correct?
And I got tired of explaining it, so I went to transparency. It's a little easier.
Transparency is better.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
Alderman Sistrunk, I saw your hand.
And the idea of a 5th floor, does it fit in contextually with
Yeah,
that
this is kind of a transition zone. I mean, you're going from campus into the city, and this is kind of like the start of this new district that they're developing that's going to go all the way down to Russell. So this building's more like what's on Russell Street than like what's on University Drive. So that's why the zoning's kind of continuing around to capture them. But then right after that, it goes back to like a Cotton District style zoning. So contextually, it definitely fits.
Okay, all right.
One more question over there.
Alderman Vaughn.
That's coming in there where First Bank, right? Is it coming into there?
Yeah, First Bank is in the same zone as this, yes. And be a part of this development, I don't believe so at this time. It's just off the screen where that parking lot is to the left. But the style of First Bank, like that architecture and its fenestration and how it addresses the street is real similar to what this building is. So.
Anything else, Alderman Vaughn?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, all right, I still need to open it as a public hearing, so let me do that. All right, opening this matter as a public hearing, anyone wishing to speak in favor or in opposition to this matter, now would be the time, either for or against. All right, seeing none, I will close it as a public hearing, and I get to say, I think this is awesome. I just love the fact that this particular addition is coming into the district, or the Cotton District, and so I'm very excited that we have a rooftop bar, and that's kind of, because it's a high level. I mean, it's a high level of hotel, and so I think we are in a good market for it, and I think we're overdue, so I just love that fact. Anyway, now that I've said that, we need a motion. I have a motion from Alderman Brooks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Poco. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, awesome. And it is unanimous. And I now, ladies and gentlemen, need to take leave, and the Vice Mayor is going to take over because I have a conflict, and so I am recusing myself from the next item for discussion, so if you'll excuse me.
Thank you, Mayor. You're excused. Thank you. Board, the next matter that's up for consideration is LP 25-07. Mr. Hamlin, if you could present that to the board.
Yes, sir.
It's on the agenda for the final plat approval for Daylily subdivision. Go ahead, please.
Yes. F 25-07, this is a request by BS Development for final plat approval of what is called the Daylily subdivision. This is all directly south of 210 Daylily Drive, 100 Foley Drive, 102 Foley Drive, and it's in an S2 zoning district. Let me get this slide up. Sorry about that. The subdivision is really just a reconfiguration of 5 existing lots and to a new configuration so they could transfer ownership and allow for future development of it. All easements and dedications are provided on the plat, and the Development Review Committee has reviewed this plat and has recommended approval. If there are any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Hamlin. Let me do one housekeeping before we entertain your question. Clerk, let the record reflect that the mayor has exited the boardroom and she has recused herself from this proceeding. Any question, Mr. Hamlin, please? Board members, any questions? Is there a motion?
I got one question.
Move approval.
How many units in there?
Right now, it's just a land thing. It's not really necessarily any units. What kind of sparked it all is the property, if I can find the mouse.
Mr. Hamlin, can I help you out on that? It's a gentleman from 7, the paperwork we got is a reconfiguration of 5 existing lots, and the gross acreage on that is 62.12 acreage, and just a reconfiguration of that, and the Development Review Committee reviewed this matter on October 2, 2025, and they're recommending approval. Get it?
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Gentleman from 4, you recognize.
Yes, move approval.
We have a motion from Alderman Brooks to move approval of LP 25-07 for final approval of the Daylily subdivision plat. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by the gentleman from 3, Alderman Skinner. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously. Chief, Police Chief, will you ask our honorable mayor to resume the boardroom, please? Yes, sir. Thank you.
That will take us down to the claims docket, which I think is the last item on the agenda for action by the board. Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
I have a motion from Alderman Pocock. Do I have a second?
Second.
I hear a second from Alderman Moreland. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Thank you so much. All right, so let me turn a page and verify. Yes, I believe that's the case. All right, well, in that case, allow me to read the calling of the work session, and then I will need a motion for us to adjourn. In accordance with the notices required under Mississippi Code annotated 254113, board will have a work session on Friday, the 31st of October. Happy Halloween, everyone. 2025 at 11 a.m. That meeting will be held in City Hall at the second floor conference room located at 110 West Main. Notice should be provided of this work session within 1 hour of this meeting by posting such notice at City Hall. The notice for the work session should be made a part of the minutes of the board meeting. The work session will be an open and public meeting of the City of Starkville, and the public and press are invited to attend. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
I have a motion from Alderman Vaughn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Moreland. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are in adjournment. Thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate it.